And we are back, and we are joined by Victor's Nation's host, Jason Robinson. And as you can see by his title there, he also hosts the podcast for what he believes is America's team. So we are thankful to have Jason with us tonight. Getting it off right off the bat, Jason. Just letting us see right where you come from, my man. Welcome to the
Absolutely,
show.
man. Thank you. Thanks for having me, guys.
Jason, let's do this. Let's get the pleasantries out of the way for any Team Up North fan who might be catching this who has not caught your podcast already. Where can they find you?
A few different places. So we started on Facebook, so you can catch us there at the Victors Nation LLC. You can also find us on our YouTube channel. We're also going to Apple Pods and Spotify eventually too for our podcast. You can find us on TikTok and Twitter as well too. And then we also have a website, thevictorsnation.com, where you can see a bunch of different media outlets for Michigan, view their articles, and also share in a community forum.
Yep, and you guys got a lot of merch too, so
Yeah.
that's something you guys have done really well. I thought we would be when we came to Big Banter that we would have the biggest Facebook page by far. We have 7,000 over 7,000 on our business and over 5,000 on our fan page. So combined, that's 12,000. And then I saw you guys. I was like, oh, we aren't the top dog. You guys got a ton of followers on Facebook, man.
Yeah, we got over 14,000 plus, started it up in 2017 and got about probably over 6,700 still pending yet.
Wow.
But I have no time. No time. So we got a lot pending right now yet, but we'll
Very
get there.
good. That's cool. All right, let's dive into the game. I'm going to ask the first question, and then Aaron and Chris, I'll let you guys take this over. My question is, I just want to get this out of the way off the bat, I don't want to respond. I want you to give Ohio State fans who are listening to this podcast, what is the view from the fan base right now on all of the Jim Harbaugh cheating scandal stuff? Where do you guys sit as a fan base? It seems from what I view on Twitter that the fan base is kind of a little bit divided a little bit on it now.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to kind of speak for everyone on that. Does it happen throughout other programs? I think it absolutely does. I can't talk with Aaron with that shit. Um, basically, yeah, like I said, it's going to be tough to speak for everyone. I think everyone has a different kind of perspective on it or a different piece of opinion on the matter as well too as a Michigan fan. Um, but as far as it goes, I think a lot of people know that other programs are doing this. It's how we did it though, and I think it's a one man show. Now at the same time, it's still Jim's program, right? It's still his program, whether he knew about it or not. There is an NCAA rule about that as well too. What that punishment's going to look like, I have no idea. The rule is really gray. I'm not sure. But as far as other Michigan fans go, it's not like we love it, right? We don't like media attention like that. What program absolutely would? But at the same time, I know like that the spreadsheets came out of other schools sharing Michigan's signs as well too. I don't know what's going to happen with this. He took his 3 game suspension. He'd be back for the Big Ten championship. So when we beat you guys, we'll be there. He'll be coaching that game. So I'm not sure what's going to happen as an NCAA outcome yet. I think it's going to take a little bit of time. But as far as I know, speaking for all Michigan fans, it's really challenging on this topic. It's kind of all over the place, like you said, Eric.
Mm-hmm. All right, I'm done talking about that. Aaron, go for it, man. What do you want to talk about?
Yeah, so I kind of was interested in. I guess I have two questions, all right, and they're not really
Sure.
related, but the health of McCarthy and Roman Wilson. What's do you got any info on that?
So JJ said he's feeling great. He's going to be good to go. He's going to be 100%. As far as Roman Wilson goes, it was more of a precautionary to take him out. I don't really know if there was too much concussion signs or anything like that, but it was more of as a cautionary to just put him out on the sidelines and not play the rest of the game. Which we could have
Okay,
used him for sure. I mean, we were up 23-3, but just like last year too. I mean, we probably should have lost to Illinois. We only beat them 19-17 with a last few second field goal at the end of the game to beat them. So, but
Yeah.
both of them will be playing. Henderson's going to be playing. Hinton's going to be playing as well too on that offensive front. So,
Okay, good. That's good. I don't want any injuries. I want the whole team. You know what I mean? That's how this
yeah,
thing should be done. And then my second question for you is, in all honesty, taking away any piss and blue shades that you may be wearing, how do you see this thing matching up in reality?
the game, dude. So we're looking at two of the top defenses right now.
Yep.
In passing, points allowed and yards allowed as well too. That interests me as a football fan, like you were kind of saying. So I'm really curious to see how these offenses are going to match up on our two defensive fronts. So let's see how that goes. Can Ohio State stop the run though? So both rushing defenses, yeah, they're up there, but they're not in the top 5. I don't even know if they're in the top 10. But they're up there in the country. So it's going to be really interesting to see if Ohio State can stop the run. That's what I'm going to be kind of curious about to see from your defense. I know you guys can stop the pass. So can we. We didn't really show it that much against Maryland, but it's going to be interesting. And then you guys have a star player, right? Marvin Harrison Jr. Probably leading the Heisman race right now as well too. Why wouldn't he? It's going to be really interesting to see how Mikey, so Sanistro is going to match up against him, or Will Johnson. I don't know if they're going to split. I haven't heard anything about that yet. But that's going to be an interesting perspective, too, on how we're going to stop some of your wide receivers. Because I feel like we're going to try to ground and pound, basically. That's
Okay.
how I see this game going as far as, like, strategies. But really, the top two defenses in the country. That really interests me to see
Same.
how that's going to play out.
I agree. Chris?
So I want to get back to McCarthy a little bit. Do you think that the injuries to McCarthy have had any impact on the way that the offense has been ran the last couple of weeks, or is it just strictly that you guys are that happy to run the ball? And do you have any concern that maybe the lack of the lack of production by McCarthy the last few weeks might be a sign of something that may be worse?
I don't think I'm too concerned about it. The only reason I'm concerned about it is just because of last year's, and I'm just talking about last year's perspective real quick. We didn't pass the ball like a lot at all last year. And you could definitely see that in the TCU game kind of play out when we were behind and we had to start throwing the ball around a little bit too. And he didn't really have that many attempts throughout the whole season except the first 3 games, right? As far as his health goes, yeah, maybe, and this is just my opinion, so I don't know for sure. But maybe it had a little bit of impact on him. I'm not sure, but that second half of the Maryland game, even a little bip before the second half, it kind of reminded me a little bit of the Bowling Green game that we played this year. He threw 3 interceptions. Still didn't have a bad game, but I mean, you see that number 3 picks against Bowling Green, it definitely doesn't look good. I'm not saying it's because he was injured at all, but I think sometimes he does try to like throw him in there a little bit. I mean, he is an accurate passer, but he is competitive as well too, and I think sometimes he rushes his throws, but still a hell of an athlete. And he can run the ball too. I think he could have took off a little bit more last week as well, but he was not 100%, like you were kind of saying too. So I'm not sure. I mean, we'll see.
What
But he's good to go.
What is your feeling on where the score is going to be in this game? Not necessarily pinning you down to a number per se, as far as Ohio State this, Michigan that. What kind of scoring do you think is going to happen in this game?
So that's another thing I've been thinking about the last couple of weeks. So you guys seem to be a really like a second half team. Not in all your games, but some of your games you guys seem to be a second half team.
Most.
So I'm Yeah, mostly, yeah, and that's what we were last year too. We didn't play a full game last year. We always came out in the second half and made adjustments. So it kind of reminds me of you guys what we were just a season ago. So I'm not sure. I guess we'll see what happens, obviously. But as far as the game goes, I think it's gonna be a pretty close game down to the wire. That's what I think. Like last year, I know we kind of blew it out the last two seasons actually in the second half, but you guys are a second half team. Every team makes adjustments, obviously, but I think it's going to come down to the wire. I'm not going to say the last play. I don't think it's going to be that, but I think it's going to be like maybe a one score game is what I'm thinking this year.
We're all on the same page then, all four of us. Plus Derek, he had his score yesterday in the Big Ten huddle, and he was the same way. Everybody's like low 20s, like that's like that's where everybody
Because of the
seems to be landing.
defenses,
Yes.
Yeah.
that's what I think too.
Which means it could come down to the kicking game, which scares me to death. Our special teams suck, like straight up, like advantage you guys. I don't even know why we even have a special teams coach. He's horrible. We've had three in the last 16 games, 3 bad fake punts where there was miscommunication. We missed the field goal against Georgia, but he shouldn't have really been in that position to begin with. Just a lot of we're giving up way too many kick yard returns. Way too many kick yard returns, yardage. It's not good. So if this comes down to special teams, it's advantage you guys. It really is. The other thing that you guys have an advantage of right now is you guys are plus 12 in turnovers. We're even Steven. We're getting off the field a lot on third down, but which is great. Which when you're not on the field a lot, you can't get a ton of turnovers. But you guys aren't either, and you're still getting turnovers. That's something that scares me. And then the other thing that scares me would be home field advantage for you guys when we have a left tackle who has been false starting a lot. And we're averaging almost six penalties per game. You guys are averaging less than 2. You're 1 point
I don't know.
something.
I don't know if we're number one anymore, but
Yeah,
like,
you still are.
Yes, you are.
You're
okay,
still are.
so we're still the least penalized team in the country as well too. And going back to like the field goal kicking as well too, and special teams, like we don't have a Jake Moody obviously, but this guy's missed like one field goal all year.
Right.
So we're still sitting pretty good
Right.
there. But
let's talk about what I think is advantage Ohio State then, and get your opinion on this. And it's not to rub salt in a wound, but it is what it is. Jim Harbaugh's not going to be on the sideline. So how confident are you guys in Moore?
Yeah, so I'm glad you brought that up. So just to start, so Sherrone Moore, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's got 3 responsibilities right now. And you can kind of tell during the games, he's got a lot going on, right? So head coach, O-line coach, and offensive coordinator. And I'm not saying that's maybe why JJ threw those passes or whatever either. It's just, it's a lot going on for one person right now. But Jim's strategy, his game plan will still be implemented as well, too. As you 3 know, that he could still coach at practice. He could still strategize, develop that game plan as well, too. So that's still going to happen. Now, when he's not on the sideline, you saw it the first 3 games, we still won, but that as a fan, and I think sometimes like some of those players as well, too, there's not a lot of, there's still aggressiveness and there's still motivation. It almost takes the wind out of us a little bit when he's not there. I mean, he is our culture. He is our culture. So when he is not present on the sideline, you can definitely tell. I mean, you could definitely tell like the last couple of games as well, too. And I'm not speaking for everyone here, but you could see it kind of in the first 3 games. When he is not present, it's a little bit different.
Okay. If he's your culture, explain that to me, because the perception from outside of Ann Arbor is that he is a weirdo. Okay, and we laughed about this before the season.
He's my weirdo, Eric.
Yeah,
he's my weirdo.
I know. He's your weirdo.
and you can keep him.
Yeah, but
Oh, absolutely.
explain
Absolutely.
that to me. If he's your culture, is he completely different than what everybody sees? Like for real, is this an
Yeah.
act? It's totally
I
an act.
I have met him a few times, and honestly, to tell you, and it's just a few times. I don't know him that well personally. I want to say, but he doesn't really like media attention that much. I don't know if you guys have noticed, especially this year, last year, anytime he's really been here. Post game, he always answers like what, one question, two questions. Then he's always like, "Hey, I'm going to turn it over to this guy. You got to talk to this guy." They always have another question for him, but he doesn't want to talk to him at all. So he doesn't really like the spotlight at all. And as far as the media goes, I think sometimes he does. And from what I've heard from other people, sometimes he does act weird, I think, on purpose. I don't really think he's an absolute weirdo because that's who he is. Do I think he's kind of crazy as well, too? Aaron, you don't have a say in this right now. But I think he does do it. I think he does do it on purpose, is from what I've heard.
Or he's just a complete freak show.
Sleepovers.
But hey,
Chickens are nervous birds.
Aaron,
Eating
you never
boogers.
had a sleepover before? You never
Eating
played video games?
What?
You've never had a sleepover before? You never played video games at a sleepover before? In a
Not as a
bunk bed?
50-year-old
No,
man
never.
at a
Not
high
as a-
school kid's
Not
house.
an adult. Do
What the hell are you
you?
talking about?
No, time
All
out.
three of you, I guarantee,
Time
sleep
out.
over
There's
at
a
each
word
other's
for
house.
that.
I
It's called a
guarantee. I can
pedophile.
tell.
Time out,
I can tell.
Jason.
You System Link Halo.
When
gotta do it.
when was the last time you had a sleepover playing video games? Be honest.
Man, I think
Waiting.
it's been a little bit, but I know
Waiting.
Taco Bell was involved. Pretty sure.
How old were you? Just to give us your age.
How old was I? Man,
Yeah.
I don't know. I have no idea.
Were you 50 at a
I'm
17-year-old's house?
not 50 yet, but okay, guess what? If we keep doing this big banter stuff, I'll let you guys know when I turn 50 when I have my first sleepover.
Were you
And
old
I
enough
will
to
have
drink?
one
Spend a
on
night
purpose.
At a middle
I
school
will have one on
treehouse.
purpose.
Well,
Were
eating
you
boogers.
old enough to drink? Because Harbaugh's guests were not.
I think I was. I'm not sure. So Taco Bell and a case of Busch Light.
Are
I think,
chickens
but I can't
nervous
remember.
birds?
So you were in your early 20s, is what you're saying.
Probably. Maybe.
Okay.
Are chickens nervous birds? Yes or no? Inquiring minds want to know.
What?
Brother, you are thinking too long. I can
Sometimes.
smell the gears turning. There is smoke coming through
Sometimes.
my speakers.
I still love his comments though. I love it.
If
Yeah.
It drives you guys up a fucking wall, and
He
I absolutely
sounds-
love it.
It
Like
doesn't
a-
drive us up a wall. We just get it. We get
Oh,
a
we
kick
make
out
fun of it.
It's
We get
sad.
It's funny.
Yeah, but that I just love the way he talks to the media. That's all it is.
There is a picture
I
out
love
of
that.
him with
I
his
love his
shirt off.
analogies.
The sun
Yeah.
was like, "Please, Jim, put your shirt on. The light is reflecting
And all
back."
four of us could probably talk to that, okay? No one wants to see us without our shirts off.
Correct.
Speak for
Trust me.
yourself,
Well-
homie.
For me, anyways. No one wants to see this.
No.
I'm good.
You Aaron, you still work out, Aaron. So
Yeah.
it's all right. But,
I did, and then I had two kids, but yeah.
I got 3, homie. It ain't no excuses. None.
all right. Let me put you on the spot.
hmm
Has Jim Harbaugh coached his last game for Michigan?
Good one.
No, I don't think so. I think we're going to sign him to a lifetime contract.
Are you really believe that that's the case?
I really do believe that.
So
Yeah.
what's changed? What has changed to where he does? Because he's flirted with the NFL so many times. So what's changed?
I don't really think much has changed. I think he just wants to be appreciated, and like that contract offer. I don't care who else is saying it, that it's off the table or it's rejected. It's not. It's definitely still on the table yet. So I think the culture that he's built here, this is a no star offense and defense. Like Derek and I had a pod last night as well too. Or 2 nights ago we were talking about it. Like it's even hard to pick a star on this team. This culture is built around him loves Michigan. So yes, absolutely. I know he's flirted with the NFL, and now we're hearing rumors that he's going to the Las Vegas Raiders, and he said it himself.
By
Like,
New Year's Day.
I'm not really seeing any of that stuff. I mean, who knows? Anything could happen, right, guys? So, right, Eric? Like, anything could happen.
Sure.
Sharon Moore could win out, right? He could kill it. Maybe he's our next head coach as well, too. But I still think that contract is definitely still on the table, and if he wants it, he's going to take it.
Two things we know, Jason. One, Jim Harbaugh's in Vegas by New Year's Day. And two, Sharon Moore, win, lose, or draw, is going to cry like a baby on national media.
Man, right media. There. That's
He's not a man.
Hey, I'd rather have him cry than threaten an 86-year-old man.
You know what? The 86-year-old man was to step up to the plate. We'll whoop his candy ass.
Listen,
how about that? Okay.
Listen. I thought for sure Notre Dame was going to win that game because I thought they were tougher than Ohio State. But listen,
okay, that's good.
Listen, I just want you all to know that I think Ryan Day's tougher than I thought he was. I apologize. So I listen. The running joke is that we want one angry old coach from every fan base to call Ryan Day not tough. Because he coaches different when he's angry, and our whole thing is we want angry Ryan Day. So
somebody call Lloyd Carr.
Lloyd Carr, call him.
You're
out,
up, buddy.
You know what? Next. If cheeseburgers and cheating don't get you pissed off enough to win this one, I don't know what does.
Yeah, that's another one. Cheeseburgers and bags in the parking lot. Are boogers
anytime he had a contract? Anytime he had a contract on the table, all this stuff is coming out. And he doesn't just want, so really, like, I still feel like this is a target on him. And I'm just speaking as a football fan, and yeah, whatever, it's a Michigan fan as well, too, that I'm talking about. But at the same time, last year when he came out and said that he essentially wants revenue share for all these TV deals, endorsements, whatever. It's not just for Michigan players, it's for all of college athletes. He was one of the first coaches that spoke up about NIL. That's the NCAA's pocketbook. That's the athletic at AD's pocketbook as well, too. That's their money right there. So as soon as he mentions those things, there's 2 investigations going on already in the same season.
Hang him.
And he ain't going to get hanged. We're going to sign him, Chris, and you're going to love it. I'm going to buy you a gym shirt. I'm going to buy you a free gym shirt, Chris. I'm serious. Give me your address.
Okay.
You know what? I would love it.
Final question. If that is indeed the reason behind the NCAA investigation is this theory that you have, and to be honest with you, I think that might actually have some legs. Then why all the Ryan Day was after and his FBI brethren are after Jim? Why even contemplate that if that is indeed the reason? It seems like they both can't be true, buddy.
Yeah, so I don't really know what's going on. I know the FBI situation, that's a separate thing. That's when our systems got hacked.
Oh, that's a whole nother problem? Oh, my bad.
That's when our systems got hacked August 23rd, 2023. That's a whole separate situation. As far as like Ryan Day's brother with the private PI firm, this LLC or whatever, I don't know. I think this is going to take a long time to solve. I don't know if it's ever going to be solved. I think there's a lot of like gray areas here as well too. I think it's going to be a while. I think there's a lot more information that's going to come out, not just about us, but against other teams as well too. Because the NCAA can't push this too hard. So other schools are doing it. So how Connor Stallions did it is different. I get that. It's a little weird, right? But if other schools are advanced stealing signs as well too, I think there's more information that's going to come up about that as well too.
The reason why I have not pushed that as a huge narrative on our show is because to me, hate the game, not the player, dog. That's how I kind of look at it. I used to steal signs when I played baseball all the time. I was a catcher. And I would, and when I was in the dugout, I looked at the other coaches. I tried to figure out which one was sending in the signs to the catcher for the pitcher. And by usually the second inning, I had it figured out. You know what? Get better signs.
But
In game, yeah.
did you take a cell phone out onto the field and record it, Eric?
I did not know, but this was in the 90s too, because I'm old as dirt. So there was no such thing as cell phones, man. There were, but they were bag phones.
You got one of those vending machine cameras in the
So-
dugout, guarantee it.
Oh,
Disposable.
gosh. No, we didn't have vending machines. I went to a poor school. Yeah, we drank our spit because we were tough. That was what our coach. Literally, when I was in school with punishment, you weren't allowed to have water. Today, can you imagine that today? Run and you don't get water. That was punishment when I played. Oh gosh, I'm as old as dirt. Anyways, this has been a lot of fun, Jason. So here, just to reiterate for everybody, here's the bet. My buddy Sean and I were going to come to the game because I bet him last year that if they beat us again, I would pay for 2 tickets and we would go to the game. And he's a Michigan fan. And unfortunately, he had a car accident and was unable to come. And so I'm not going to get a chance to go to the game. But this year's bet is that if you win, come Sunday night at 8 o'clock on our live show, your logo will be on our show instead of ours for that show.
Sure.
And vice versa. Next time you guys record, if we win, sitting behind you, it won't say VN, it'll say the Ohio Podcast. So I'm looking forward to this because I think this is probably the best bet on Big Banter this year, in my opinion.
Oh,
What do
yeah.
you think?
And I'll agree with that, and I'll definitely do it. I already got a bet with another Ohio State fan here locally. So whoever wins gets 2 combos from Taco Bell.
There you go.
And I'm going to be real hungry that day.
Well, I'll tell you what. If you haven't been to Taco Bell lately, a combo is what, about $12 now?
It's getting expensive
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
It was like
I was just there today. One combo, $10.
I used to eat lunch at Taco Bell for $4, and I got the same exact thing, and it's like $9 now. I'm like, holy crap,
Yep.
this is ridiculous. Hey, Jason,
It
thanks
sucks.
so much for coming on, man. We really appreciate
Thanks,
it.
guys.
Have a good game this weekend. Go Bucks.
Go blue.